The Sistine Chapel resides in Vatican City as a part of the Vatican Museums in Rome. The chapel was originally commissioned by Pope Sixtus IV, and the construction began in the late 15th century. After initial construction was completed, it was then Pope Julius II who commissioned Michelangelo for the ceiling frescoes in 1508. Michelangelo finished the project in 1512, a mere 4 years later. Eventually, he was recommissioned once more about 25 years later for a final project by Pope Clement VII. Michelangelo went on to complete this fresco in 1541. His final work in the Sistine Chapel finished when he was only 66 years old.
This is the creation of Adam. Painted by Michelangelo around 1511 to 1512, it sits in the center of the Genesis sequence and basically captures the moment where life is passed from God to the first human. Even though the scene looks simple, it carries the central theme of the entire ceiling, the connection between the divine and humanity. When we zoom in on the hands, that small space between the fingers is what creates all of the tension. Michelangelo doesn't show the actual touch, he shows the second right before it. That almost contact is what makes the panel so powerful. It suggests potential, not completion, and it visually represents the idea that life and purpose comes directly from God. Adam is shown in a very relaxed, grounded pose. His body looks sculpted and weighty, which reflects Michelangelo's background in anatomy and sculpture. He looks complete physically, but still inactive, like he's waiting for energy or identity. This fits the Renaissance view of humanity as capable and noble, but still dependent on a higher source to come fully alive. God, on the other hand, is full of movement. His arm reaches forward with a lot of force, and he's surrounded by figures inside that red mantle. Scholars point out that the shape behind him might resemble a brain or a womb, which fits how Michelangelo mixed theology with scientific knowledge. The contrast between God's energy and Adam's stillness is what tells the story. Life flows from one to the other. In the end, the panel connects Renaissance ideas about human potential with the biblical idea of divine creation. It sets the tone for the rest of the ceiling by showing where humanity begins and what that relationship with God looks like.
Next up, in the Sistine Chapel, we are looking at Michelangelo's Separation of Light from Darkness. Painted in 1512, this fresco is about the size of a small car. But instead of wheels, it's got divine drama. This scene shows the very first act of creation in the book of Genesis, God dividing light from darkness. And Michelangelo didn't just paint him floating around. He painted a twisting, almost aerobic God, showing off cosmic power. Symbolically, light means truth and order, while darkness means chaos. After centuries of dirt, the fresco was cleaned, and the contrast popped back to life, reminding us that sometimes you literally have to clear away the grime to see the light. And get this fresco isn't naturalistically like the others on the ceiling. It's abstract, mysterious, and deliberately distorted. Michelangelo wanted us to feel that creation itself is beyond human understanding. It's not just anatomy, it's divine energy in motion. Placed at the very start of the ceiling, Genesis story, it sets the tone. God's authority, the origin of existence, and the idea that both spiritual and intellectual illumination come only through him.
Another very influential scene in the Sistine Chapel is the Doge, also known as the Great Flood. It's full of emotion and chaos, and it shows Michelangelo's skill in perspective and group composition. The Doge, also known as the Great Flood, is the 8th scene in the Sistine Chapel. This scene is part of a larger series showcasing stories from the Old Testament and the book of Genesis. The scene of the Doge is split into 4 parts, each part representing a different perspective of Noah's Ark during the biblical flood. Michelangelo portrays fear and emotion in this piece through the use of perspective and his enhanced techniques. In each of the 4 parts, we can see the struggle of humanity as people try to find refuge. While the fresco does represent Noah's Ark during the flood, there is a much deeper meaning to the story. The Ark is believed to represent the church, while the floodwaters are a symbol for baptism. The waters are baptizing the world and removing it of its sinners. The Ark is seen as a place of refuge for those that were part of the church during the flood. The others taking safety on land are believed to be lost, as we could see that they care more for their personal items than making it to the Ark. The people on the land are also trying to get to higher ground, signifying them avoiding the baptism. The painting not only shows the story of the Great Flood, but it illustrates the effect that the flood could have on people through their different human behaviors.
The Fall of Man Expulsion from Paradise, one of the 9 central Genesis panels on the Sistine Chapel ceiling. Commissioned by Pope Julius II, this fresco is significant not only for its theological meaning, but also for its emotional intensity. The painting is split by a fig tree. On the left, Eve reaches towards the serpent while Adam leans in, calm and unaware of what's to come. On the right, we see that everything is changed. An angel drives them out of the Garden of Eden. Adam hides his face in shame, and Eve collapses under guilt. The contrast between peace and despair makes this scene very powerful and compelling. These figures in this fresco compel a very strong idea of anatomy in the Renaissance, and they're also very human. Their faces and gestures show fear, sadness, and regret. This mix of beauty and emotion reflects the Renaissance ideas about humanity. Theologically, the fresco shows the break between people and God. Emotionally, it captures pain, shame, and the struggle that comes with temptation. It's a reflection on human weakness and the fight between innocence and suffering.
The Last Judgment was the final artwork Michelangelo worked on in the Sistine Chapel, having completed his renowned series of the ceiling panels many years before. It was finished about 25 years after he completed the commission for the paintings decorating the ceiling. The Last Judgment takes over the majority of the altar wall instead of residing on the ceiling like the others Michelangelo had been commissioned to do. And, being massive, this comes across as quite a dramatic final, which had the perfect tone for the Book of Revelation. It tells the story of the end of days, and shows the figures of several angels and saints alongside Christ himself. Within this panel, we can see St. Peter peering towards Christ holding a gold and silver pair of keys. This is significant because there are several mentions of him being regarded as the gatekeeper of heaven within the Bible. It also gives a clear symbolicism of his essential authority over who enters heaven, especially in this painting of the end of days. Alongside Peter and the other saints, we notice that St. Bartholomew is visible as well, to the left of Christ, holding up a sharp object along with what appears to be the skin of a man who has been flayed. This husk is believed to be Michelangelo's way of inserting himself within the artwork, a self-portrait of sorts. Michelangelo was very bold with this painting, showcasing his even previously evident talent when working with anatomy, along with his subtle detailing and clear emotion. It was also quite controversial, however, given that Michelangelo depicted the figures of the angels and saints rather immodestly for the time period in which this painting was created. Regardless, the work remained excellent and got much appreciation even though there was still quite a bit of disapproval. Within this work of art, he managed to convey the sense of doom on many of the figures' faces down towards the lower end of the painting, and also the serene faces of those who resided closer to heaven. Showing an absolute mastery of skill put forward so beautifully and terrifying is something Michelangelo absolutely achieved. Only he could make something feel so wonderfully divine and at the same time display a horrifying sense of mortality. It is an amazing work of humanity and divinity, of horror and hope, and it continues to impress viewers even today, nearly 500 years later. All in all, with Michelangelo's talent, it is no wonder he is still remembered to this day as a master of his craft and one of the pivotal artists of his time. Not only was he revolutionary in his work with anatomy, but his skill in being able to depict humanity so accurately so as to strike feeling within the hearts of those who still view his works to this day is more than impressive. Many artists dream of reaching his level of fame, but only so very few will be able to manage such a feat as he. Michelangelo will go down in history as one of the best artists of all time, and rightfully so.